My name is Derek Gripper, and in another lesson I've shown how to play the basic cycle of a piece from West Africa called Jarabi in the standard tuning of the guitar. So today what I want to show you is how to use a slightly different tuning, how to introduce the capo in this playing, and how to do some more complex cycles from this piece, and then give you the idea of how we start to improvise with the structure. So first I'll give you a feel for the piece so you can hear a more complicated version, and then I'll show you how to play 3 cycles from this piece. So Jarabi is made up of 3 parts. It has a bass line. And while this bass line goes, it has an accompaniment. Which we can make more interesting by adding a top string. In many different variations. And once we've got these kind of cycles going, we can start to make a melodic improvisation. Starting from standard tuning, the first thing we want to do is to tune the guitar in what I call F-sharp tuning. In other words, taking the G string down a half step. So the easiest way to do this may be just to simply use a tuner and to take your G string and tune it down to F-sharp and use the tuner to show you. I'm going to just show you how to do this by ear as well, because we can actually develop quite an intuitive way of tuning, which is not quite as the tuner will show you. And that can often be really nice. So if we start on the D string and we play the 4th fret, that's going to give us F sharp. So if we listen to that, just like we would listen to any melody, and then we listen to, so we want to take this G string down. So the first thing you can do is just practice making those movements and not to be scared of the tuning head. Some people like to move it very slowly because they're scared it's going to... get used to making big movements first. Then we want to make the same sound from 0 to 4 on the D string. And you'll hear that you're making a very nice major 3rd here. And we're now in an F-sharp tuning, which means that the 3rd string is dropped down 1 semitone. So previously, when I showed you Jarabi, I showed it to you on these 3 strings, the D string, the B string, and the E string. So now simply, we're going to move the whole thing down 1 string. So we're going to have A string, F-sharp string, and B string. So these 3. The basic cycle of Jarabi now will be 3, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So if you make this into a continuous cycle again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Then the fretting is going to be 2nd position, which means the 1st finger on the 2nd fret, and we're going to use the 2nd fret and the 4th fret, using the 1st finger and the 3rd finger. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So we have the whole cycle in. 2, 3, 4. 1st cycle, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. And the one thing we added last time is we changed the harmony, so we put the 1st finger here for the 4th fret one. So we have... So now we're back to where we ended in the previous lesson where we have the basic cycle of Jarabi using 3 fingers. So now we want to start to create some variations. We want to have maybe 7 or 8 or even 9 variations of the cycle that we can move between. Let's add the last finger here, the 4th finger. In Spanish guitar we call it A. So you have P, I, M, and A. So we can have like that. So we're first going to learn a new right-hand pattern. The previous right-hand pattern was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So let's do that one thing at a time, very, very slowly. First part is, starts with these 2 fingers together, and I and M. So practice doing that as a small cycle by itself, until it's very comfortable and easy to play. The next one, M, A, and I, with the thumb at the beginning. M, A, I. Go back to the first one. Second one again. And the third one. Just 2 beats. 1, 2. So we've got 3 parts. First one, second one, third one. So once you've got those really easy as separate things, we put them together as a full cycle of 3, 3, 2. Once again. Putting a tiny little gap between, just to make it easier. Then once it's under your fingers, you make it flow continuously without any gap, so it'll sound like this. And if you feel very comfortable with that, you can add a swing to that as well. So let's add the left hand. The first chord we're going to use is first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string and the 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the E string. And let's put the cycle together with that. Now for the 2 we're going to go open again. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Let's make that into a continuous cycle. And you can add the swing again. Plus you can shorten the bass. So what you've done here is you've still got this original, but you've got a new top going. Right, now for the 2nd chord of Jarabi, you're going to need a small bar chord. It's a 2-string bar chord there. So we're using the outside of the 1st finger gently just behind the fret with as little pressure as possible. And you've got to stretch all the way up here. So put it together as a full cycle. Add the swing. Shorten the bass. So now you've got two cycles going. So let's do one more, and then we can start to have a simple improvisation of alternating 3 different cycles. So the second one, I'm just going to teach you the first part of it first. We have, that's the basic cycle, made up of 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. So you'll notice the rhythm has now become 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And let's make that into a continuous cycle. The great thing about the Malian cycles is they sound good with just a short part or with adding more. So now let's put that into the second harmony. So we were here, and we've got 3 parts. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's hear that all together. And we make the full cycle, which is twice on the first chord, twice on the second. Now you've got 3 elements to the piece. So you've got the building blocks for the beginning of an improvisation, where you can go from 1 to another one, back, and to add the complicated one. Lastly, you can add the use of a capper on the 3rd fret, which is going to transpose the whole thing up. It's going to make it sound higher and crisper. And bring in the swing and the short bass line. And you can use any combination you want, as long as there's always 2 of the first harmony and 2 of the second harmony. So that's the beginning of an improvisation with just 3 cycles from the West African piece, Jarabi.